Hello, good morning, and welcome to Real Talk with Tamara. As you guys come into the chat, please do hit the like button. Also, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe to the channel. Hope that you guys are doing okay on this early morning. I know that I am. I always express the importance of hitting the like button because the like button helps to keep the video in the algorithm. Okay, so make sure you guys please like, share, subscribe, comment and all of those really good things. Okay. I wanted to talk about Hernandez Govan. The only reason I'm talking about him is because his stuff is getting ready to kick off. He goes to court on tomorrow if his attorney does not get it changed. But with it being so close to the time that he supposedly is going to have his trial, which is, I believe, July the 28th, somewhere around that time, supposedly, I guess he's going to we'll start seeing him go to court, just like straight drop. He goes to court about a month or so before the supposed trial, or tomorrow he may go in and he may say he doesn't, that he's going to plead out. So, and that's why I came up with this title. Will he go through with it? Straight drop went through with it, and we and but straight drop, he went through with it because of the look. Okay, because of the look, he knew he wasn't going to get out of it, but he definitely wanted for people to, he definitely told on some people, and he wanted for according other people to tell on certain people. He wanted to send Cornelius out, and which Cornelius was going to do it anyway. He wanted to make sure that Cornelius told. Um, and I was told he had said, to make sure he told Cornelius to make sure he tell on Jook and Gotti. But when it got in court, of course, when straight drop trial, we heard Cornelius say, he said to tell on Jook and Govan. Okay. So I think it's more to that story. It's a lot that did not come out in court. But is he gonna go through with it? Quet likes to bet. He's a gambler. Okay, so he likes to gamble, but he's making this would be like the biggest gamble of his entire life, because now what he's doing is he's definitely gambling with his livelihood, right? And like I said, the thing that would be concerning to me if I was him is the mere fact that he has his high priced attorneys, because Manny is definitely high priced. He's flying from Atlanta to Memphis. He got his licenses in Memphis, so he's definitely being paid some big bucks now on his license in Tennessee. Um, just the travel fee within itself is a lot. Okay. So hotel fees when he gets here, all of that. Okay. He knows that this is going to be a big trial. Um, so he's still around, so he's being paid. But with him having those high price attorneys, and Durham Handle is a pretty good attorney. So with him having those attorneys, right? And we see the state's case. Now, do I believe that Hernandez Govan was the mastermind as far as like saying, okay, I want young Dolph out of the way. Let's concoct a scheme to get young Dolph out of the way. Was it his initial idea? No, I don't believe that. I've always said I never believe that, right? We do know that the idea was already formed, and I think Hernandez Govan was one of the people that it was brought to after the payers came up with the idea. I've been very vocal about that, right? So he's being charged with being a mastermind. Okay. Now, if it is true what the state is saying, and that is he got these other little guys together, I guess that could be looked at as some sort of mastermind. I don't know. But here's the thing, with him having those high priced attorneys, And those charges that the state have on him, and they have not drawn up any motions to have those charges thrown out, that would be concerning to me, right? Because if it was fugazi, if it was the it asinine or any of those things, right? Obsolete, those charges, if it was just a bunch of mess, then I would think that his attorneys, especially with the type of money that they're being paid, would already have been drawing up motions a long time ago to have those charges thrown out. Okay. We see it happening all the time, but not one time have they did it, right? So that will be concerning to me. So, like I said, it's definitely a bet. He's definitely betting, um, putting his livelihood on the gambling table at this point. But hey, maybe he may think that it is worth it. But when you got somebody like Straight Drop that's been dropping dimes on him, you got somebody like Cornelius that is probably ready to come back into the courtroom. He probably thought of some more stuff that he didn't say. Okay. So he's ready to come back in and lay it all the way down. Okay. He's got the opportunity to think about some. Oh, I forgot that, because see, he was just letting it rip. He was letting it rip so much that they had to control what he was saying, because he was going to tell on everybody. Okay. So I definitely think some more people are gonna get their day in court, because Cornelius is going to make sure that. But from the beginning, cases like this, when you have cases like this, as I've said before, oftentimes people don't go through with it. Okay. They'll go all the way until the end. They will try to hold up all the way until the end so that they can get their cases reset, their trials reset, all the way until they exhaust all of their means. And then they'll turn around and plead out. Okay. A lot of people are surprised that Straight Drop was very close to pleading out in 2022. That's what a lot of people don't know. He was going to plead out because again, Guli had him to that point. Because he had already told him that that it would be beneficial to him to plead out, and just like Cornelius' attorney told him, and to work with the state. Okay. Because of all of the things that Straight Drop is facing. Okay. That and some more stuff. So Ganguli did not he wasn't stupid. He is looked at as the negotiation king. Okay. He knows how to negotiate, but I think that Straight Drop's attorney fed him to um he fed him to the state. He fed him to the feds. Okay. He fed him. And whoever it was that was paying Straight Drop's attorney, I think that was at their command. Okay, because people would trust their attorney. Straight Drop had a investigator. His investigator, that female, she was sitting right there next to him in court. And she's a really good investigator. Okay. She's not better than me, but she's good. Okay. So for the mere fact that they did not produce not one witness. That's what investigators get out there and do. Not one witness, not one expert, not one nothing. And that is because more than likely, I mean, it's just weird because a lot of times, with Young Dog's case being so big, people probably just scared, didn't want to get on up there and get charged with perjury, meaning lie. Or you can get some people to get up there and kind of bounce around, with the perjury stuff, but that judge is not playing. Okay, because she'll hold him in contempt. Perjury is a very serious charge. But it seemed like to me they should have had somebody. They didn't even have not one person that come up in there as a character witness. Okay, nothing. You got a really good investigator, that has had some high profile cases. That's the reason why he had her up in there. Nobody, folks thought she was a lawyer. She sat there the whole time and she didn't have not one person. That's 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 weird. That was her job to, and her team's job, to get out there to make sure that these people were in court, to garner relationships with them, find whoever it was, garner relationships with them, and to make sure they showed up for the client. And that did not happen. So it makes me believe, and she does not come cheap. Okay, she's not cheap. So, not only did he have a paid attorney, because Luke was charging, coming from Nashville, he was charging quite a bit. He also had an investigator that was expensive. Okay, somebody was paying both of them, and it seemed like, to me, both of them failed. Very reputable attorneys, because Luke is not a bad attorney. He didn't do, he fumbled straight drop, but I'm surprised that his investigator did not produce nothing, not nothing, not now. Okay, not now. And I don't know if they was betting on Quet, because it seemed like to me that Luke had put all his eggs in the basket on create. He was going to try to create doubt. He was hoping that Quet was going to be there and get on the stand, but Hagerman didn't never call Quet. You know why? Because Hagerman knew it. He's a smart prosecutor. Okay, because all you have to do, all the defense has to do, is create reasonable doubt. After Cornelius got up there, it was over with anyways. But still, I mean, you still go down fighting. They just rolled over and fed him to the feds. Y'all know the boys was up in there. I call the feds the boys. Okay, they was up in there deep. Okay, they be wearing all black. Okay, and he just kind of rolled. They just rolled over and fed him to the boys. Okay, um, and I believe, in my opinion, that was at the command of whoever it was. See, that there was, you have to understand the pattern. They try to get him to Nashville. I mean, they said God take care of babies and fools. I mean, to Indiana. That was intercepted, because when they got him to Indiana, they was gonna kill him. Okay, so that was intercepted. So then they say our home was gonna be his attorney. He was talking about, when I go to jail, everything God was saying, he was repeating when he was on the run. They fooled him. You could tell he's a young fool. So then when he got back, Art Horn rescinded that statement. Or no, he never said, he just said he never said it. Okay. He said he never said it. Okay, just flat out lied. Okay. He said he was never his attorney. So they threw him up under the bus with that. They never intended on getting him an attorney, but Ganguly and Teasy made them think twice. Okay, because Ganguly was getting ready to get Straight Drop to plead out, and Straight Drop was talking. Okay, you could say what you want to, or I know what I know. And he told him to throw himself a lifeline. And about a month or so later, Luke entered the picture. Luke and that investigator who produced nothing, who has been known, created a name for being a high profile investigator. She does not come cheap. Okay. And produce nothing. Okay. So they removed Ganguly, who the state was paying, know how to negotiate with the prosecutors. My client, we're gonna give you what you need, but we need some negotiations. He don't get life, maybe 35. Okay, maybe 35, and all them other little charges, and you can get them down, throw them out, or get them down to almost nothing. He was negotiating for him. Then Luke was entered into the equation. Okay, and all the rest is history. It got so out of hand. Now they taking care of his mama. They living in a mansion, and which I'm not surprised because from my understanding, when everybody fled and when this happened to Young Dolph and they was getting all of their family and stuff out of the Memphis area, from my understanding, that area that Straight Drops family is in, that's where they took all their women and their children and mamas and all of that. They took them out there to get them out of the way for the time being. Okay, some of them have migrated back, from my understanding, but that's where they took them. That is the go-to spot. That's where they was at when this unfortunately this happened to Young Dolph. They took pictures that night, I guess to establish that they were in another state or something like that. um but yeah, Straight Drop had grown up in Orange Mound. Then they moved to the Concourse building, where nothing but rich people live in that building. Nothing but it was built for the rich people. Okay. And Straight Drop and his family was living up in there. They don't take Section 8 up in there. And I'm not saying that to try to down anybody, but they don't. Okay. And now they're living in somewhat of a mansion in another state. Okay. So I ain't mean to get all into that, but will Hernandez Govan go to court on tomorrow? I mean, he goes to court on tomorrow. Will he go through with it? I tend to believe, because Hernandez Govan is older. He's been out there longer. He knows the system. He's been in and out of the system a lot longer than them. Okay, Cornelius was about 10 years older than Straight Drop, so he had a little bit more sense. Um, I don't think he's gonna go through with it. I really don't believe it. And for some odd reason, I kind of believe that something probably has already happened. Okay, but that's just in my opinion. Nobody told me that. I just had a premonition about it, that maybe they've already started negotiating something. But I don't know. That's just something that popped up in my brain. Okay. So, but hey, maybe he will. Maybe he will. Maybe my brain is wrong. Maybe he will go to trial, but that is definitely a gamble, because his fate will be the same as Straight Drops. Because up until this point, his lawyers have not been able to get any charges thrown out and have not tried. They have not tried. Those are high profile lawyers. They're supposed to be filing motions like 40 going north, even if they are denied. Insufficient evidence, motion to have this charge dismissed, nothing like that. So that would be scary to me if I was him. So it's gonna be interesting to see. Okay, he's older. Like I said, he's lived longer. He's had more experiences, and he's not oblivious as it relates to the justice system. Okay, I would hate to believe that he was an old fool now, especially being in and out of the justice system as much as he has been. We know Straight Drop was a young fool. He was naive. Quit has years on Straight Drop. Okay. So that's why I believe, because when cases like this, when they're high profile like that, I mean, I know they've already offered him something, and maybe what they offered him, he just feel like it's better to go on and just bet with state. Bet with state, okay? Like bet with quit, bet with state, because maybe you think it's better to do that, because I think they offered him 20 or 25. Okay, I think they had offered him 20 or 25, and he didn't take it. So, um uh yeah. So I don't know if any more I don't know. So anyways, let me get off of here. So I got to run. But anyways, you guys, will he go through with it? He goes to court tomorrow. Maybe he's gonna assure the judge that he will. But he don't seem to be worried. He don't seem to be worried. So that's something to take into account. The way he be on there, they say he talks about box trucks. Now I don't been on. I ain't gonna tell no lies. I haven't been on this page lately, but I have gone on his page in the past a few times. He posts. He don't have a damn care in the world. That's why I said I don't think he's going to trial. He buying box trucks and cracking jokes. Hell, I mean, facing what he's facing, most people would be sitting on the toilet, shitting everywhere, okay, because their stomach and stuff will be running off, right? But he don't seem to have a care in the world, so that's something to take into account too. That's kind of why I never believed that he was going to go to trial. I think he just wanted to exhaust being out because he gonna have to do some time. He want to exhaust being out as long as he can by getting his attorney to kind of play with the dates and get things rescheduled until that has been exhausted, and then he might plead out. But he goes to court tomorrow. Is he going to tell the judge he going to plead out, or he can do it at any time? He could do it on the day of the trial. He could do it during. He could do it at any time. So that's what a lot of people don't understand. So it's gonna be interesting to see, because as short as Straight Drop's trial was, I mean, I wouldn't bet with the boys and the state for 3 days. It took them 3 days, 3 to 4 days to rip Straight Drop's life away from. But Straight Drop did that to himself, right? Then Cornelius don't go back to court until June. Okay. And it's not saying he's going to be sentenced. It's just saying he's gonna show up. It says nothing about Cornelius being sentenced anymore. Hint, hint. Y'all need to pay attention to that. It doesn't say anything about sentencing. He just got to show up at court. Okay. Child, Cornelius messed around. And it is sad because he did shoot dog. He did that gun he had incapacitated him, so he gonna do some time. But Cornelius been working, okay, and he's not hiding it. But I think he has really put himself in a way better position, and I think it is at the approval of Young Dolph's family, okay, because he's put himself. Cornelius was around them dudes, so he saw a lot. People do a lot of stuff around crackheads because they think that they're drugged out and they ain't gonna remember nothing, don't know nothing, okay, and not credible. But Cornelius been showing a lot of folks, okay. Anyways, I guess we'll see as it relates to Quet. It's his turn, okay. I guess we'll start seeing within the next. We'll see tomorrow what goes on. We'll start seeing if this is gonna go to trial in July. I just don't believe it, okay. Anyways, you guys, that's what I wanted to talk about. I want you guys to please like, share, and subscribe if you would like to support the channel. You could definitely support the channel via Cash App.